Hey everybody, welcome into Flippin Great Pinball. I'm here at the new location. We don't often get a chance to have all the games on here when no one else is here. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to do a little walkthrough of all the games that we currently offer. If you haven't been in here since we reopened in July in our new location, which is coincidentally right next to our old location in Railroad Square, same building, same parking, etc., then maybe just check this out, see if there's any games in here you want to play. We think we've got a pretty good variety. Close to 75 games now, as opposed to the 40 games we had in the old location. But as you come in, you'll see that we got a new front desk area here. All of our menu prices, merch prices, everything else is here on the menu board. So this will cycle through, show you all that. If you want any concessions, drinks, we've got that covered. All the candy you could want, any stickers, pins, gift coins. We even have gloves for Chuunim, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And everything else, you can come right to the counter and get yourself something there. Of course, lots of pinball games. We've got, I think, close to 27, 28 in here currently, as well as a bunch of other mixture of games. We'll start here with the cocktails. So we've got a great gyrus here. So this is a nice rotational vertical screen shooter. So really fun to whip around if you haven't played this one before. The always classic Ms. Pac-Man. I don't think really much more needs to be said about that. You'll always catch people sitting here. Space Invaders Part 2, same favorite Space Invaders, just with color version as opposed to the color gel that the original had. And then if you're into vector stuff, we also have Asteroids. You'll notice that there's no joysticks on this one, it's all buttons. So warm up those fingers if you're playing that. To get to our most recent pinball lineup, we've got a couple of Sterns here. All these are insider connected. So you can sign in with your insider account just by getting your QR code, holding it right over that, and it'll go ahead and record your score. And one of the cool things here is that we have a menu board that as soon as you put in a score, if you're in the top 10, you're gonna pop right up there. I'm kind of proud of the number 2 score on Deadpool that I got there yesterday. But it's pretty cool to kind of see where you rank with everybody, you know, as soon as you finish your game, having it pop up. But the insiders that we have are Foo Fighters. Pretty good game. Jack Danger did this one, a lot of innovative shots. Really enjoy that. Godzilla, I mean, there's no denying how great this game is. If you haven't played Godzilla, you're really missing out. Deadpool's got all the humor characteristic and some really interesting shots you won't find in any other table. You got Iron Maiden, another great game. Good music, great shot selection. You got the nice little jump ramp in the back there. Pop the ball into the pyramid there. And of course, classic Star Wars. So any of these you can actually sign in with your insider account, play, get achievements, earn badges, and then check to see how you did. The rest of our games here in this line include Sega South Park, Monster Bash, which is hands down my favorite pinball game of all time. If you haven't given this one a shot, you definitely owe it to yourself. You get to go ahead and find all the Universal monsters and basically have a jam band. So little play on Monster Bash there, but a really cool game. You got Red and Ted's Roadshow. So if you like giant talking heads similar to Funhouse, well, this is it for you. We've got Demolition Man. Great game. You actually, if you play the handles there, you get a score bonus. I don't know if you know that now. You got the regular flipper buttons you can do, but also grab it by that and you'll actually get a little bit more points. And then Star Trek Next Generation, beautiful Williams game here. Swinging around here, something you probably won't see pretty much anywhere else is not a 1, not a 2, but a 3 red tents. These are Nintendo Versus, and unfortunately our middle one right now is having some 5-volt issues, so that's out of order temporarily. But each of these play 2 games or 1 linked to game. And as you can see, 3 of them lined up. On this one we got Pinball, Castlevania. This one's typically running Dr. Mario, followed by Tetris on this side. And then this is running the same game for both sides. This is actually Versus Wrecking Crew, which is a Mario and Luigi game that you may have not heard of. But the interesting thing here is if you do a 2-player on this, one person plays as Mario, one person plays as Luigi, and they're on the opposite side of these doors and ladders and everything, and they can't see where you are if you're behind it. So it's a really interesting game. You can kind of play competitively or cooperatively. You can knock down the other player if you hit something that's behind them. First of our rhythm games that we have in here right now is U-Beat, and you can see our DDR in the back there. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but U-Beat's kind of like the finger version of DDR. If you're not wanting to play with your feet, you kind of play with your fingers here. You're able to hit the tiles to the music and everything else are really cool. Rhythm game. Back into pins here, we have Tommy. Fantastic game. Next to it, another Day East game, the first Jurassic Park. Stern came out with one a couple of years ago, so this is the original with the T-Rex in the back that will go ahead and eat the ball. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Fantastic game. Of course, Tallahassee and Wakulla Springs history being so closely intertwined. This is one we always like to feature, but one where you're actually watching the movie, or you had to drive in watching the Creature from the Black Lagoon as opposed to it being all about what happens in the movie. So pretty interesting theme take on that. We got Super Mario Brothers. Great game. Lots of kids love this one. If you want something a little on the scarier side, we got Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street here. Next is T2, Terminator 2. This is a great game for all ages. If you're a beginner, if you're experienced, this is just one that's really easy to understand. You can have a good time on. And last in a row here, we have Phantom of the Opera, which is probably one of the best looking pinball games ever made. Day's really did a great job on this one. We've got some Street Fighter 4 set up here. If you want to play on the Megalo, you can go ahead and sit right down, challenge a friend, play alone, whatever you want to do there. So that one's booted up. Swinging here to our some of our older games in Classic Throw, we have Elvira into Party Monsters. We've got Funhouse with good old Rudy in the back there. He looks like he's sleeping right now, but he occasionally wakes up and says stuff, even though we don't have a track on, which is kind of weird. Whirlwind, great game to play in the summer. Go ahead and get that those balls locked and that fan twirling, get yourself a little breeze. But spinning disc here in the middle, go ahead and disrupt the ball. And then the third in the Lawler trilogy, as it's called, is Earthshaker. So you got Earthquakes, Whirlwinds, and then Funhouse. I guess its own kind of natural disaster. The classic Taxi. So here you're picking up people like Mikhail Gorbachev and Dracula and Marilyn Monroe to go ahead and complete your fare. We have Centaur. Great Bally early game, early 80s here. Beautiful playfield, nice use of the black and white. We have Stern Dracula. This one decided to blow a few coils, so we've got some parts on order to get this one back up. Got Joker Poker, which was a late 70s game. They made this in both electromechanical and solid state versions. Yeah. This is a solid state we have right here. As you can see from the score display, it's been a very fun yet simple game of knocking down the different card suites to maximize your points. Spanish Eyes, which is, again, a pretty unique electromechanical here. You got this big pop bumper right here in the middle that kicks the ball around. You may think sometimes you've had the ball drained, but the ball pretty much hits that, comes back into play. Great resurrection game. And then we got Pro Football by Gottlieb, which unfortunately, as you can see, we had a coil burnout in the score reel, and those are harder to find than most of our newer stuff. So we've got one on order, should be here shortly, and we'll pop this one back up. We have our Candy Island, as we like to call it here. It's a couple of our sit-down candy cabs. So first off, we have a nice Blast City. It's currently got Gumbark in it. It's like a shooter meets pinball. The ever classic Street Fighter 2. So this is the anniversary edition that we're running right now. So any of the Street Fighter 2 editions that you like, you can go ahead and select your characters from that one. And then if you're into the more recent stuff, we do have Street Fighter 6. So this is on a linked cab. You can play it against somebody sitting side by side. You can see these just have one control panel set up. So come on, challenge your friends. This one can also run the most recent Tekken. All right, looking in the back, we got our party zone. We'll get to that in a little bit, but that's where we have all our event space, party rentals, etc. And that can be both a full room or a half room, depending on how many people and how large you'd like. Other side of Candy Island, we've got our little Neo Geo here. So this is our Neo Geo Mini. It's got a 2-slot in it. You can go ahead and play what's in here, which is currently Windjammers and Twinkle Star sprites. We've got our vertical shooter here running on the Sam Duxa Crowan case. Gaiapolis was in there. We just have not swapped out the marquee, so that's there. The ever classic Marvel vs. Capcom 2 here on the Naomi stand-up. Again, fantastic fighting game. And then another one of our newer additions, this is Sound Voltex Exceed Gear. This is another rhythm game where you can go ahead and spin dials, hit those buttons, hit these buttons, all kinds of buttons, basically in tune to the music. This is probably our tallest cab we have in here right now, but a really cool light show and everything else. Another shooter here, a more classic one. We've also got our Blitz 2000 and Showtime, so you can switch between these two games and play either one of them. If you're into gun games, we've got Area 51 and Maximum Force. Again, another one you can switch to play whichever one you like. Revolution X, music is the weapon, but right now the weapon is out of order, so we're working on getting this one back up so you can hear the good old tunes of Aerosmith and fight those fastest people with CDs that you fling at them. Virtual Cop 2, another great shooter. House of the Dead, one of my personal favorite games of all time. And then we get into our racing games. We have the original Sega Outrun Upright. Got your pedal down there, go ahead and stand up, play some Splash Wave, and get to cruising. And then if you're into the more recent thing, we have a great Linked Outrun 2. This is a drifter's paradise here. Great game to challenge people on. Mario Kart Arcade GP. Fortunately, you see the out of order in that one. That one had a power supply issue. On order, should have that one back up. And then kind of its sister game in the arcades, one you certainly don't see as much of. This is F-Zero AX. Really cool racer. If you haven't been able to play this, there's paddles on the back to kind of do your tilt and everything. You're pretty much zero G racing all the time. And then Initial D3, which just a classic racer. Probably our most unique game here is Block-A-Shot. This is a pneumatic game, so you're actually like hitting these balls at the bottom to move these here. So you can coin this one up actually by hitting the quarter there, and it goes ahead and puts play on there. DDR, another one of our rhythm games. So this one we have running our Step Mania. You see our pads here. We've got some padding on here. Made a lot of effort to get this dialed in, make sure everything is as good as it can be. Another one on the rare side, Nintendo Super System. You can check that side art out. That is quintessential 90s. But this one is basically a Super Nintendo arcade. So right now we got Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Super Tennis running on it. You can pick any one of those three. Just hit the button in the coin there to coin it up. We've got our 4-slot Neo Geo right now running Neo Turf Masters, Metal Slug, Drift Out, and Puzzle Bobble. Sorry, Neo Drift Out. We've got our Cuphead game, so this one's running a new Cuphead. And then our 4 players, we've got Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then X-Men. Maybe, probably, most likely my favorite arcade game. Love that one. In the classics here, the first of a couple that we've got Burger Time. It's a great original cabinet. If you haven't played this one, you are Peter Pepper, and you're going around trying to trap hot dogs and eggs and pickles and everything in your buns, trying to make a delicious dish while not getting killed by the enemy. Speaking of fighting game classics, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 over there, we've got Mortal Kombat 2. And next to it we have Simpsons Bowling. So if you're a Simpsons fan, bowling fan, give that one a shot. Swinging around here, we have another new addition. This is Chuunim. Definitely my favorite rhythm game. But it's a great game where you're actually like moving your hands on here to slide on these keys. You're hitting what you need to, holding what you need to, and then these things on the side, you actually have to elevate your hand in that area, raise it and lower it based on what it's telling you to do. But this one we do have hooked up to our AIME card, and that is something that you can sign in if you have an American card. All right, classics row here. We have Nintendo Punch-Out next to Mario Brothers, next to Versus Mario Brothers. So this is Super Mario Brothers, what you would expect to see on the Nintendo, but the Versus version, which is a lot more difficult and has a different series of levels and progression. Donkey Kong Jr., great game there. Next to our Donkey Kong, fantastic game, one of the best arcades ever made. And if you didn't like sit down to play Pac-Man, you can go ahead and stand up and play Pac-Man here on this one. And then finally, Galaga. Do we have Galaga? Yes, we have Galaga. So that's it here currently in the lineup. We'll swing around here and go back to the party zone. So we do offer event rentals, birthday rentals here in our new party zone space. This is a very large event space that we're able to do. Currently set up for 2 different areas here. So you can see that each half of the room comes with refrigerator, prep table, seating, and TV. And depending on what you'd like to do, there's two options. One is the full room like we have it now configured. So you get this entire space plus up to 24 all-day admissions for $299.99 plus tax. And if you don't need all that, we also have a half room option, the semi-private room, for $199.99 plus tax. And we go ahead and close this partition here, give you half the room. There could be another party going on the other half of it. And that gives you up to 12 people all day that you can play, not just at your 2-hour party rental, but past that time. So a great space to have events in. Anything else, if you would like to rent this space out, please give us a call or contact us through the website. We can reserve the time for you. Food and drink is allowed in here. We do allow drink out onto the arcade if the cup holders and everything are being used, but food must stay in here if it is being eaten. So that is the walkthrough of Flippin Great Pinball 2.0, as we're calling it. Coming up on our 8th year anniversary here. We opened in 2016 and moved in here 2 months ago. So if you haven't come and check it out, or even if you have, come back by. We've got a couple of new additions. And of course, new things are added or taken away based on when it happens. So come in, check us out, let us know what you think.